trouble, and there's no room for that in today's world. Tony remains eager for the authorities' decision to grant him access to mine the Indian River, which has the potential to be one of his most profitable claims ever. He called it a test run, wanting to assess its performance firsthand. As exciting as this must have been for Tony and his crew, they were brought back to reality when Tony received a call summoning him to meet with the water authorities. Apparently, they wanted to discuss the water license, a thrilling yet nerve-wracking prospect. Soon all that thrill quickly turned to disappointment when it seemed like Tony might have to reapply for the water permit. This news must have been crushing because it meant that the chances of the entire season going to waste were quite high. How are they going to handle such a setback? It's important to remember that the application process for permits can take months if not years to complete, and even just writing the application itself can take months. What hassle it is. Nice that we got the water license we've been waiting to lose here for years now. They're faced with a daunting task of packing up all their equipment and heading home without even coming close to their target of 9,000 ounces. Actions like lighting the water on fire seem more and more ridiculous by the minute. What a letdown, but Tony must have raised his kids right, because despite the disappointment, they were quick to remind their father that it wasn't all bad after all. They had recently extracted about $400 worth of gold, which is definitely better than nothing. Talk about looking at the glass half full. This extraction marked more progress than the previous week's haul. With that in mind, it's clear why the team decided to stay resilient. Once again, they dug deep and found new solutions to the problems they could solve. They're planning to develop even more advanced mining techniques while also scouting for fertile ground to continue their gold mining ventures within and outside the Yukon Territory. They're already looking into this situation in places like Alaska. This way, they can focus on the bright side rather than dwelling on everything that's gone wrong. Really, what's a couple of months or years spent reapplying for the permit? Maybe Tony will use that time to explore or his roots in other industries like agriculture, construction, heavy equipment operation, or oil pipeline maintenance. It's possible, but seems unlikely. Tony is a skilled miner for a reason. He was drawn into the gold mining industry long ago, and its allure was just too irresistible for him to resist. It's quite a journey to stake a claim in the Yukon, especially coming from across the world, but Tony managed to build a reputation as one of the most prominent gold miners in the Klondike region. His ownership of the Parrot Hill claims and a Tamarack mine shows how his drive and persistence pushed him to become one of the biggest gold miners in Canada. He worked 7 days a week, 14 hours a day, and that lasted for the full 6 months, no days off of the two mining territories. The Tamarack mine seemed to be the more lucrative for Tony and his team. This brings us back to Tony's early days on the show. He first appeared in 2010. During Season 2 of Gold Rush. Initially serving as a consultant, he provided advice to miners like Parker Schnabel, guiding them to the best places to find gold in the mines. Tony also emphasized the importance of building test holes, highlighting it as a crucial method to increase the chances of striking gold. Tony is respected not just for his successful mining career spanning decades, but also for the valuable advice he gives on the show. Sure, he might be eccentric, but who cares? He gets the job done. It's evident that Tony is a miner who doesn't quit until he achieves his goal. This determination has been crucial to his success, and he'll need every ounce of it to overcome his current challenges. However, he might need to work on his approachability, given his reputation. Using petrol to set a body of water on fire isn't the best way to win friend in high places. Tony Beets' Viking funeral on Gold Rush might have seemed like a fun stunt, but turned out to be a serious disaster. It not only messed up the chances of getting a crucial permit approved, but also ruined the whole season for the team and the viewers at home. What might seem like a harmless prank can have real consequences. During the filming of an episode called 100 in 2014, Tony and his crew poured gasoline into a pond and set it on fire, calling it a Viking baptism. They thought it would look cool and tough to show their fiery it, but it turned out to be a disaster in real life. The fire caused serious pollution, and Tony's mining company Tamarack got hit With charges, this all happened in the Yukon region of Alaska, famous for its stunning natural beauty and strict environmental rules. The court ruled that pouring gasoline into the pond and lighting it was essentially dumping waste illegally into a protected water area. Tony Beets and his company didn't even report what happened, which made things worse for them legally. When the trial wrapped up in August 2017, the Yukon Territorial Court found him guilty of multiple violations, including letting waste end up in the water area and failing to report the incident. The footage of Tony celebrating in front of the flames, which aired on TV, didn't help his case at all. It was like solid proof against him. Tony had to pay fines totaling $6,000 himself, and his company got hit with fines of $220,000. His water license got suspended, a crucial setback for gold mining. This mess didn't just stop at legal and financial repercussions. It made people start thinking about the responsibilities of TV personalities and how their actions can impact the environment in mining areas with fragile ecosystems. There's a lot of pressure to adhere to strict environmental rules. For Tony, this incident didn't just disappear. After the court case, it made it harder for him to secure the permits and licenses needed for future mining operations. Discussions on platforms like Reddit have highlighted that this event played a significant role in the ongoing struggles Tony faces to get his water license back. Despite all the legal drama, Tony still has a solid fan base among Gold Rush viewers who appreciate his non-nonsense attitude, toughness, and relentless pursuit of gold. However, this incident was also a wake-up call for Tony and his crew, realizing the importance of adhering to environmental rules and laws. Some might argue that authorities are unfairly targeting Tony, especially since he's seen as a controversial figure. Yet, allowing an employee to pour a ton of petrol into the water and then set it on fire is reckless and could have led to even more dangerous consequences. The risk to birds and fish from this prank alone is concerning, making one question the wisdom of granting permits to such a company. Now Tony has to deal with the uncertain status of his Indian River claim. Adding to his troubles, the release of such toxic substances is a serious matter that jeopardizes his water license application. The allegations of improper land reclamation aren't painting a good picture either. These negative factors have put Tony's water permit application in limbo and affected his pursuit of the Indian River business. One would think he'd have someone handling these matters for him, like a lawyer. Where's Saul Goodman when you need him? Right. It's clear that Tony is devastated by his inability to mine the Indian River, especially after investing so much time into the application process. Meanwhile, he has to deal with other serious issues while trying to secure the necessary permits. Imagine the morale dip in the camp. They spend the season assembling equipment without finding any gold. It's demoralizing. Thankfully, one of Tony's sons brings him some gold findings worth about $400, showing that there's still progress being made. Surprisingly, this small achievement becomes a source of motivation for Tony and his crew. Instead of moping around, they decide to experiment with new mining techniques and scout different locations for future operations. After all, idle hands invite